Every color needs its own separate plate. These are called chips. They're made out of mat board. And this is what I will use to scrape the ink onto the plate. So we've already incised these. We've already taken a spiral scribe, and we've already like incised in our image that we have here. And so now we're ready to add ink. But sometimes it will separate. When that happens, you need to stir it. You can use a palette knife from painting to mix it if you need to. I don't need very much on here. That's a tiny amount, right? That's enough to wipe this entire plate. I'm gonna cover the entire plate because there's something called plate tone, and if I don't cover the entire plate, you're gonna see the area I did not scrape ink on. So even if there's not an image there, you want to cover the entire plate. I'm gonna flip my chip over, and I'm just gonna scrape off as much as I can. Like this. And you need an extra sheet of newsprint around just to scrape. It's gonna get messy. And I don't mean the soccer player. So I'm gonna scrape that off. Back in the day, we used to use phone books for this. In print studios, we'd have bunches of phone books. All right. So now I'm ready to wipe off this plate. So I've scraped the ink in and I've scraped it onto the surface. Now I'm ready to buff it down. And so because it's so sticky at first, I want to do like a twisting motion to kind of like get off the excess before I can buff it out. So I want to start by just like a little bit of a twist. And notice that I took the paper towel, I made like a little nest with it. I made a little pad with it because I don't want to put too much pressure on this. If I put too much pressure, I'm actually going to wipe the ink out of the grooves, which would defeat the purpose. I don't want to clean the whole plate. I just want to clean the surface of the plate. I want to keep the ink in the grooves. So again, I'm going to make a little nest. I'm just going to fold the paper towel in towards itself, or the rag, or the tarlatan. I would do the same thing. I might have enough, yeah, I have enough off the surface that I can start going back and forth, but again, I'm being very gentle with it. I don't want to push too hard. If I can get circles going, I will. And again, I'm just trying to buff off the surface. I'm not trying to take off any more than that. Okay, so I've gotten the surface off pretty well. Another thing, if you start pushing too hard, even if you don't remove all the ink from the grooves, you'll start smudging the ink that's in the grooves. It'll start smudging on the side. You won't get a clean print. All right, so I got this pretty well, but right now this says what's called plate tone. Plate tone is still, there's a very thin veneer of ink on the top surface that you really can't see. So I'm gonna take a little bit of newsprint. And again, we used to just use a page of a phone book to do this. And I'm gonna try to use the palm of my hand to then like flatly just buff the surface of this plate. So now I'm removing plate tone. And this will make the whites a little bit brighter. You'll have brighter whites with this. If you like a little bit of a gray to it, just wipe it. As long as you wipe it consistently every time the same way and aren't trying to wipe parts of the plate differently, it'll be fine. So that little bit of whatever will help it just be a little bit brighter. Okay, now I gotta do the same thing with my red. I'm not gonna remove the plate tone on my red because I don't care that much.
Again, I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna scrape the back side because I can't keep using the side because there's too much ink on it. Again, I'm gonna twisty motion. Red, yeah. So if we had, let's say we're printing like a 4-color plate. 4 plates, right? 4-color print. We got yellow, red, blue, and black. What order should we print in? Yeah. I guess I said it in the... We're definitely going to need to edit this down.
There it goes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this little tick mark right here, the little tick mark, with the center mark on the press, and I'm going to line this edge up with the line on the press. So let's do that.